Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Tales from the Fandom. It is the end of February, and I have a guest who has joined me on the podcast. We had some difficulties getting here, but we're here now, and I'm so excited to get to talk to her. I have Kuma, but you might know her on Instagram as Kumalatte Cosplay. Kuma, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm happy to be here. Definitely had to jump through some hoops, but I'm nothing if stubborn. I exist through spite. So when technology tries to keep things from happening, I will find a way. But otherwise, it's an honor to be here. I'm very excited to talk about things. I've been in kind of a sort of quarantine for a couple weeks. Haven't gotten to talk to a lot of people and friends about like all the media I've been consuming or over quarantine. So I am just super excited to just info dump.
Mhm. Well, that is what this podcast is here for. And I just want people to know, and we'll be talking about cosplay near the end of the episode, but I went back. I always go back to find out, like, which picture, what was it? Whereas, like, I have to follow this person. And it was almost a year ago when you had posted a
Crazy.
picture of you as Avatar Kuma and
Oh my gosh.
with the spirit from the Korra, the first like the Avatar wand spirit. I can never remember the
The
name.
season two, like the I just forgot the names too. Like the good avatar, bad
Yes,
avatar.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know
So
exactly which one you're
it
talking
it
about
was
because
it
that's a
was
very well edited image. My photographer did amazing on that. So
yeah, it was that picture. So I was like, I can see why I liked it because I love Avatar and I just love when I can see cool things like that. So yeah, that was my first like of yours, and I've been following you for the past year, and I'm so excited to get to talk to you about some fandoms that have I don't think I've had talked about any of them on the podcast before. So super excited.
I'm excited too. And honestly, I'm very happy to hear that. I don't hear a whole lot of people say that, especially with my Cora. Like I don't hear a whole lot of people being like, I found you through Cora, because that was just kind of something I dropped. I think when Cora debuted on Netflix, I just like dropped everything. It's like, let's finally make that Cora cosplay. So it's a really special cosplay to me. I think Cora is one of the first kind of series that like sucked me into fandom. Like I finally be, grew up into that age, like that perfect age spot where I could like go into the internet and partake in fan arts and fandom and talking to people and looking at people's reactions. So just core is so special to me, and I'm very happy when people actually do like that cosplay of mine because it's just one of those things where I know people don't like Korra and people will fight that Korra isn't good, but I'm like, I love Korra though.
That's right. Got to respect the
People
Korra.
enjoy things.
We've got some great and we're going to be talking all about animation today. So the
Yes.
first one, and I've heard so many good things about it, and I have not watched it. Shame on me for this. Is The Owl House?
You haven't watched Owl House? Oh, okay. I'm gonna just stay away from spoilers for that too. Ooh.
Oh no, you go where you want to go because I'll eventually
Okay,
watch it, and by the time that I watch it, I'll have forgotten everything that you say about The Owl
gotcha.
House.
Well,
Uh,
I'm actually rewatching it soon too, so I might have forgotten a couple of key points. Honestly, it's been a while, so I'm definitely gonna have to do a rewatch of it to even put piece together what has happened myself.
what is the Owl House? What like how did you find it? How did you come across it? Like what is it? Because I've heard all I've heard is it's good things, and I should watch it.
Yeah, so the Owl House is a show on Disney. It is run or like produced, I'm pretty sure produced, directed by a couple of people who were on the Gravity Falls team. So if you were into Gravity Falls when that was on, you'll definitely enjoy the Owl House. It's very much the same kind of like chronological narrative, definitely like very character based, amazing humor. The humor just drives the story so much. So it is, to me, it follows in the footsteps of Gravity Falls while also kind of being its own show with its own merits. But I personally think I like it a little bit more than Gravity Falls. To me, I know it came out 2 years ago as of Monday, but I actually didn't watch it, I think, until October or no, September of 2020. So a couple months later, and I don't blame myself too much because I was still in school, still working full time. Then the pandemic hit, and I
Hmm.
was just kind of focusing on surviving. But I do slap myself for not getting into it earlier. I kind of just saw bits and pieces of people talking about it. But I didn't see too much hype about it yet. Just a couple of friends that were just like, "I love this show. This is so good already. Oh my god!" But it was like maybe two people. So I think I just popped in September. I think that was when the Grom episode came out. So I started seeing like it trend on Twitter with clips of that really beautifully animated dance sequence when they're dancing but also fighting under the moonlight. And just that was like breaking the internet, and I think that's when it started to rise in popularity. And I'll admit, I definitely was, my interest was piqued. I love good formal outfits, beautiful dance sequences. Definitely was that moment where everyone's like, these two girls, are they, you know, you know? So that also, I think, sparked it. I think the shipping in the show has been what's been carrying it fandom-wise, which isn't a bad thing because they do the ships really, really well, and they've stayed away from falling into the cracks of like making it safe
Hmm.
for Disney and palatable for overseas audiences. Like they've been like, no, we're going to do this how we want to do this. We're going to do this how LGBT audiences deserve this to be. And I think maybe that's maybe why I like it a little bit more than Gravity Falls, because it does push those shipping, like it goes against the shipping not stereotypes, just the pitfalls of like, we're not going to have anything become canon until the last minute, and we're not going to even show like any of these characters falling in love. They're just gonna randomly fall in love in the last episode, and then that's it. So, and then the shipping has been really well developed throughout the show. All the like the canon couples and stuff. But yeah, I definitely fell very hard in love when I first watched it. I'll admit I didn't even think of cosplaying from it. I was just kind of like, oh, because I haven't cosplayed from a ton of cartoons before then. I think I've only cosplayed from Steven Universe and Star. And I did a She-Ra cosplay. I did Entrapta and Catra very briefly.
Hmm.
But I didn't go into the Owl House thinking like, oh, I'm going to cosplay Luz. But the very first episode, she says a line, or she's like, I spend my free time putting putting anime clips to music. And I was like, oh my god, she makes AMVs. That's what I spent my whole like young life, like ages 9 to 10, on the internet doing. So it's like, oh my god. But she's definitely like introduced us to be like a very quirky character that's very like out of place in her own world, and then she enters another world where she feels like she can become somebody, and that's something I relate to very strongly as a child of immigrants who went into the school system knowing no English and kind of had sort of a reputation for being an oddball because I liked anime and video games and things that were not very popular back when I was young. Now it is, but when I was a kid, so it hit very, very hard. And then I think she's probably one of my favorite protagonists that have been in any show ever. She's just her personality is amazing. Her humor is great. The voice actress does a great job. All the voice actors do a great job with the show, but it's been I feel like it's really hard to get me to just relate that much to a protagonist, but they've just really knocked it out of the park with Luce. Like after that first episode, I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna go out to Goodwill and I'm gonna buy this hoodie." I will like already looking through Amazon, like looking at like men's wigs. It's like, what can I buy? I fell into that pitfall so hard. And I think I've done about 6 outfits for her alone. I've fallen so in love with this character, and I'm so excited to see how she and the rest of the cast grow. But like, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm specifically rooting for her. I love her so much. And I think she's really relatable to all people, like not even just like specifically like the Latino fans that are just like, yeah, finally a Latino protagonist that's like a nerd and awkward and not just like a stereotype of our culture, but like also I think she's relatable to just everyone, which I think has been a really nice thing to see a lot of love for her in the fandom.
I've heard so many good things about the show, and it's definitely something where it gets brought up in conversation. And we were talking before we started recording about how certain fandoms are not like, we don't really talk about them that much, or we have to distance
Mhm.
ourselves from like growing up and being involved in certain aspects of it. And I've heard a lot of people talk about Owl House as being one of those where it's like, hey, if you liked what you liked back then, you should definitely
Mhm.
check out the Owl House, because like it's straight up like what you are wanting in like a setting like with like what Owl House has and is doing with
Yeah.
their characters.
Yeah, I'll say they're knocking it out of the park. Like in terms of representation, race-wise, sexuality-wise, gender-wise, they're giving us everything, and they're not falling into those pitfalls that we've seen in other shows, or in other attempts for representation. They're just doing amazing. Like I have no qualms. I don't think I've seen anybody in the fandom be like, "Oh, but this is a stereotype. This is awful." Like, no, we're all satisfied as of now with like everything that's been presented and shown. So like, it's really rare. I hope it stays this way.
That's one of the things that I've been enjoying, and not obviously I haven't watched Owl House, but there's been some shows recently, some animated shows where they have been at that forefront of the representation, whether it's like diverse cast of characters or like gender and sexuality, where they actually like it's like, oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to see these characters on the screen, where even say 5 years ago, 7 years ago, we wouldn't have had shows that had what we're having now. And it's just absolutely like wonderful to see it, not just for myself, but with like when I have when we're watching shows with the kids and
Mm.
they're seeing it, and it's like it's just really good that it's we're kind of like getting to that stage, and just hopefully, continuing with it.
Yeah, yeah. I will say that there's some shows that don't do it as well as the Owl House have, but I'm glad that there's at least shows trying, like even if they're not succeeding, at least they're trying. Because yeah, like I grew up watching mostly white protagonists in mostly white cast with maybe one POC friend that was a stereotype or something, and I don't think it made me feel super great about myself. Like I definitely put myself into that um pitfall of being like a supportive role in my own friend groups. Like I never thought I could be like a protagonist type person, like type
Hmm.
A, this hero of my own story, um, in or like being something other than just like a normal person that's just in the background. But and then I think it also helps for other people too, like even for white kids, just seeing um the protagonist role be filled by a person of color or a character with a non-conforming gender or sexuality, and they can at least see that that can also be a hero of their own story. Like they also deserve the spotlight. It's not always just about me, because I don't know. Um, I kind of gripe on this with cosplay. I'm not going to go too into it, but I see a lot of white cosplayers kind of take the opportunities in a way from POC cosplayers when the very rare chances that we do have it, and I kind
Hmm.
of blame it on stuff like that. On like they grew up seeing only themselves in those protagonist star hero roles. So I guess it makes sense that when stuff like the Owl House comes out and Amphibia comes out and in Kanto that they still see themselves, even though it's not for them. Like we as POC finally feel like we have a seat at the table, and then we go to the table and we see all the seats being filled by by white cosplayers, which is not to be gatekeepy. They can cosplay with us too, but they're taking like opportunities away, doing groups, doing events, being in like being the number one in all the tags for TikTok and Instagram, and it's again like I think I have to put myself in in their own shoes. Like they never have ever felt probably like I have, where I've always felt like I've had like I've always had to feel like I'm just a supporting character. Like I've never always seen myself as a protagonist, but it's just stuff like that that I think about that has um like the greater goods that these shows are doing
Hmm.
with these kind of representation. Like it's not just like, oh cool, one brown character, we did it, we made one person feel good. Like no, like you're doing so much good with with representation um for everyone basically, I think.
Yeah, and when you were talking about the cosplay side of it with like POC characters, the first thought, because of how popular Encanto has been, especially now that it's on Disney Plus, accessible to everybody or to people that have Disney Plus.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I saw conversations and I was like, there was definitely some people who that I follow, and there was one person who was like, "Do you think it's okay if I cosplay as this character?" And it's like, maybe you need to hold off on it, like
That's what I've been
like
saying, just a little bit.
just slow your roll and chill for a second, like give it a little bit, like there's no one saying you can't do it, but maybe not like right off the bat, like.
Yeah, it's again when you have what hundreds and hundreds of Disney movies where again your skin color is the leading role in every single one. It is kind of hard to just see one movie where like I'm not gonna touch this because you're technically usually grabbing every single movie and being like, oh, I'm gonna cosplay the main character because you can because they always look like you.
Right.
Uh, so it's yeah, it's been hard to navigate that conversation because I'm just now like starting to feel represented, and I'm a whole 24-year-old, which it's kind of sad that I had to wait this long to see multiple shows and media with Latinos as the main character. Like it's crazy that it took this long. Because like when growing up, all I had was Dora, and that's not great representation. I'll admit that I was not thrilled to be compared to Dora. When most people had like comparisons to Superman and
Hmm.
Wonder Woman and all these Disney princesses, I had Dora. So it's kind of like I said. I put myself in the mind of them, how they grew up with all the representation they could ask for, and I kind of have to be that person that's like, hey, think about it this way.
Right.
You will probably have the next Disney movie, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. We may never see another Disney movie with Latinos as the main role. So, like, if you can, if you're okay, maybe hold off on that Encanto cosplay because in maybe like a week or two, you might not even be feeling it. You might find another character with that exact same personality and archetype in another media where the whole cast is white. So it's like, all the characters in that movie are amazing. I adore all of them. I've just been like consuming so much media and fan art and just partaking in the fandom, but it's again, I'm like you can find these characters and other things where they're like the entire cast is just white people. So and like these are things that people can I think skip out on just for a little bit.
Exactly. Now, I do have a question about the Owl House, before we jump off to the next topic,
Mhm.
is with the Owl House. Me who hasn't watched it, right? I'm going to
Mhm.
load it up onto Disney Plus. Is it something where I'm going to get sucked into it and I'm going to have to binge like everything immediately, or is it going to take like a couple episodes for me to get into it?
I think for me, it just depends on the kind of person you are. Because for me, I was definitely sucked into it. Like the humor just made me so happy. I loved everyone. Like I was basically just sold on the cast immediately. I was like, I want to, in the world too. I was like, I want to know everything about this world already. I think it took me a couple sittings to get entirely through it. Um, but my brother, when he watched it at first, he watched the first episode and said, "This is too cringy for me. I'm not watching this." Which was so heartbreaking because I'd finished it at that point, and I was like, "No, you don't understand. You're gonna love this." And it's been my life's work to get him to finally sit down and watch that. He's changed over the past couple years, so I think maybe this weekend's gonna be the weekend. But yeah, some I think it can be a little bit of a turnoff to some people. Because they kind of make like girl boss jokes at first. And it's like some people are just like probably rolling their eyes. And I think like personally also just because it's the main cast is, an older woman, a small teenage girl who is not, neither of them are hypersexualized, and then just like this little creature. I feel like some men probably walk into this and are like, there's nothing for me. So, and I kind of have to like gauge some people who I recommend it to. I'm like, what are their interests? If their interests are mainly anime where the women are eye candy, this is not the show for them. But I mean, it gets better and better as you go on. I think with the first season, like you can maybe get to like the middle and still be able to put it down, but once you get to the later episodes in season one, you're on a roller coaster. There's it gets very hard to put down. There's some cliffhangers. There's emotional highs and lows. And then I think once it gets into season two, it starts very slowly again, and then it starts to get back into those. I don't think anything is in season two has hit um, the highs of season one yet, but there's definitely been a lot of theories floating around Twitter and the fandom that I am just super excited to see if they do end up playing out. So literally, season two just kind of ends with giving us some hints. Like in the background, people have been pulling just little hints and clues to what the lore of this world can be, and we've just been sitting on that for months now. So I'm just like, I'm ready. I'm ready. I've thought of every theory I can think of. I'm just ready to know the truth already. So I'm hoping that season two be it's the second half of season two. Season two is like the first half is already on Disney Plus, but I, we're all ready to know when that's coming back. I feel like the fandom's already sat on this long enough.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on from the Owl House, and
Mm.
I guess we're staying in Disney because I'm pulling it up right now,
Yes.
to because I was trying to figure out if what I was thinking in my head was correct. I don't think it was because my head's trying to be sneaky. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but another fandom that you're into, again animation, again still with Disney, is a show called Amphibia.
Mm-hmm.
What is Amphibia? Because I personally was thinking, uh, like Frog Warriors, but apparently that's a totally different animated show or movie that I was thinking of.
I've never heard of that.
I don't know. I don't. It's probably like the wrong name that I'm thinking of. So it's
Probably.
it's all on me.
Yeah. I had to like hold myself back from bringing it up. I think just 10 minutes ago, I almost said like something about Amphibia. I was like, no, we're gonna give this time to Owl House. Then we talk about Amphibia. Because it is hard to not talk about them simultaneously. But I'm gonna give Amphibia its own time. So Amphibia is also on is on Disney. Um, different set of directors, creators too. I don't think they have any of them worked on Gravity Falls. But it's very similar to the Owl House where it starts off. giving a lot of focus to the characters, building this world. It starts off just very, very slow, but it's very cutesy episodes. Like my first encounter with it was, I think, just watching one random episode live on the Disney Channel, watching actual TV live. I don't do that anymore. No one does, but I just was like, this is cute, but I don't like frogs, and I don't know. Like, I don't think I'll give this a chance. It's silly, it's cute, it's probably just for kids, whatever. But then I started seeing more and more of it in the fandom of it getting like really dark. And these three main characters, just getting into some interesting situations. There's definitely one scene that kind of just made the fandom explode, and reasonably so. I kind of wish that wasn't spoiled for me, because I feel like going into the show and seeing that completely like new to me would have wrecked me. But I was spoiled from that before I even knew what the show was. So unfortunately, it's one of those things that's like, it helped me get into the show, it intrigued me, but it it would have hit so much harder if I had gone into that without knowing that was going to happen. Um, but yeah, so people were starting to talk about how it has like a very darker undertone. Like it definitely explores kind of like um, childhood and friendships and the complexities of it. Like this cast is 13-year-olds, and they have some deep emotional trauma and emotional maturity for 13-year-olds, because they go into just discussions of just like manipulation, and like trying to do what's best for your friends, prioritizing yourself, or like, I don't know, all these really deep topics. And I'm like, whoa, this all started with this like some girl and a bunch of frogs is getting into shenanigans, and then all of a sudden, like, this girl is like, you betrayed me, and like, now I'm gonna go off and like start a war. And it's so crazy. There's definitely some similarities with the Owl House in that, and then that it's dealing with two different worlds, and these characters are kind of like in between these worlds of like the human world and then this frog world. I guess it's become a popular thing nowadays with media. It's just playing with these opposing realms. The Steven Universe Starverses were also like that. So, but it's really fun. Like I think I really do like Anne as a protagonist too. She's an incredible protagonist. I don't relate to her as deeply because she doesn't deal with that much of like being an outcast sort of thing like Luz does. Um, but I still adore her. I love just how quickly she acclimated to life in this world of Amphibia. It's just so funny. Like she's not even like for 5 seconds like, I hate this, I want to go home. She's just like, oh, eating dirt, I got leaves in my hair, I'm walking barefoot, cool with me. Like she's so happy and plucky. And then like the creator is, I believe, from Thailand, so they are Thai. And the lead is too, so you get a lot of those like love and influences from that. The main character just like drops that she's Thai all the time. Like there's a bunch of episodes where she's just like, oh, you are in a restaurant? You want to make it a Thai restaurant? It's so great to see that little bit of culture, because it's not my culture. I know very little about it. So it is a show where I get to kind of sit back and appreciate that culture. And in season 3, they get into a lot more. I'm not going to spoil it, but they get into a lot more of it. It's like, it's inseparable, and in her culture, and it makes me really happy to see, because it's not just like she's like an ambiguous POC. She's not just a character that's brown. Like she has a culture. She's a child of immigrants, so I do relate with her in that part. And then they've done that, explored that very well with her character and her family. Which makes me happy, because I know being a child of immigrants isn't something that everyone can relate to, and I wish people would kind of take the time to like learn about what it's like and empathize with us, because we see the world so differently, and it is very rare to see stories about us specifically, because the world is just so wildly different than people who live in where they live in the country where they were born and raised, and like their family is all like generations have always been there in that country. Um, but I'm just very happy that the creator like dove in pretty deep. Like it got really just so funny because the character, the main character Anne, is just like every 5 minutes she's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm Thai." It's so funny, but I'm like it's kind of relatable because I'm also just like, "Oh, whoops, I'm Latina, sorry." So it's so cute and so funny, and I like the rest of the cast too. Marcy's a super cute character. I fell in love with her the same way I fell in love with Luce because they show her playing on a little Switch while in gym class. And I'm like, oh my god, did these people like watch me in school or something? I guess I like to say like the outcasts in school are finally growing up and making shows about themselves because these characters that were outcasts in their like in shows were not really outcasts at all. They were just like cat like conventionally looking people who maybe were bullied by one person, but otherwise they had a friend group. They had like, you know, everyone liked them. Like these aren't outcasts. Like
Hmm.
look at like this is an outcast. This is what an outcast looks like. You think a normal sane person plays on their Switch during gym class? Like, but it's so cute. So she's just more of like the intellectual type, the like straight A's, and she's also I think she's Taiwanese. And then there's Sasha, who is, I like to say, the token white character. Just because it's just like, oh, we almost could have had like a whole cast of POCs, but they had to throw in that token white to get the white people to watch it and have something to relate to, or else they won't enjoy it. Can't imagine what that feels like. But she's a great character too. I like to joke that like Anne and Marcy aren't representative of their whole cultures because Anne got a bit of flack for being darker skinned and having curly hair, and people were like, not all people from Thailand look like this, and it's like, well, she's not supposed to represent all of the people of Thailand. Like this is supposed to be like based on the creator's mother, and there's
Hmm.
even a picture that floats around of the creator's mother to show like, yes, this is what people from Thailand can look like. It's not all like, fairer skin and black straight hair. Like this is someone from Thailand. But I joke that like, they're not representations of their cultures, just like how Sasha doesn't represent all white people, just most white people. Because she's, oh my god, she's just so funny. I mean, everyone loves her too. She's a great character, and I'm super excited to see how she evolves in season 3. But yeah, it's just a great cast of characters, and the heart of it is just in its characters. A lot less shipping in this show, a lot less romance, which I mean that always feels like it plays a factor, right? And how successful it'll be in a fandom and in the fandom space. It's like if there's nothing to ship, people aren't interested. But I think the creator has like kind of noted that there will be more later, but I'm like, these are 13-year-olds. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in them figuring out who they are. Like there's this one line that just really stuck with me with Anne. She looks in a mirror because she's like trying to like redesign her outfit so she fits in an amphibia more and find like a nice suit of armor, and then she's like, I don't like any of these outfits, maybe because when I look in a mirror I'm finally happy with who I see, and it just stuck with me so much. I'm like, oh my god, this is so good, this is so good, this is what we should be teaching kids. Like, oh my god, why didn't I have this when I was 13? Why did I just have like 16-year-olds kissing and being like, I sure hope I find a boyfriend,
Yep.
because that was like every show that I watched as a kid. And now, seeing these shows, I'm like, this is so good. This makes me so happy. And I'm very happy that kids are getting to grow up with this specifically. And I hope that it can catch on a little bit more with the fandom. I think that the fan base for it is just very, very small. I like to think it's a little bit bigger than it is, but no, it is. It is just like a dot in the spans of fandom right now. Hopefully, maybe something in season 3 happens that explodes and takes over the internet, but I doubt it at this point. Because everybody kind of wants to pin it as just the frog show, but I mean, even the frogs are amazing characters. I like to joke also that Sprig is my favorite character because I love that boy. He is so good. I love all the frogs. I love every character that's been introduced so far. And I'm just so excited to see what all of them end up doing. Like, there's not an episode where I'm just like, oh, another episode about Hot Pop. Like, I'm very, very excited to see where the show is going, where this world is going, because they're also going more deeply into like the lore of the world, and like how this like war is playing out and why it started. It's so good. So yeah, I definitely recommend it to anybody who kind of likes the things like Steven Universe and Star, because it starts out very light and then gets darker. Some people will even call it a horror, but I don't like to call it a horror series, but there's definitely some very dark scenes. So I'm like, it fits very well into my niche of these shows that I've loved, that just they hook you in with like, oh yeah, wacky little frogs just doing little dances and just doing cute little things, and then suddenly like whole characters just pass away on screen. And you're like, oh, okay, I need to mentally process this. Like, and then I also joke that there is the finale of season 2. There's a thing that pops up that says some scenes will be too intense for younger viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. And I was joking with a friend, like, if we see this for the Outhouse ever, we will just pause that episode and walk away. Because I don't think at this point I can handle any character just dying on screen. Like, I'm too invested in these characters at this point. But thankfully it was not too bad with Amphibia, and I would not be surprised if in the Owl House something like that happens, of like a whole character just dies on screen. Wouldn't phase me at all. It's just how these shows are rolling nowadays.
Yeah, I remember watching Avatar with the kids when they were younger. We were going through the series, and it's like you don't think about it as like the age that I am watching it, but showing like Aang's tutors or friends that he used to know 100 years ago, like there's their skeletons, and it's like, oh yeah, we're not shying away from this. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that they are having conversations in these shows that are coming out now about just normal everyday topics, but also like some of the serious stuff that's going on, to really be like having those conversations with kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I know Avatar was a good good one in my day. I think I was almost a little too young to understand most of it. I gotta give it a rewatch, I'll admit. Because I kind of was too young to kind of process everything chronologically and like be able to piece together what's happening. Korra was very good. It got me at the right age where I was watching it week by week, like piecing together everything. So I think that's why I'm more drawn to Korra than Avatar. But I'm like, God bless Avatar for kind of starting this trend, paving the way, crawling so all these other shows can run. Because yeah, kids need to see stuff like this. Like, unfortunately, because just brainwashing them with like rainbows and puppies and like
Friendship is magic.
yeah, which I mean that's still a big thing with all shows, especially Centaurworld, and a couple other shows I watched. But like also, death happens sometimes.
Yep.
Like friendship doesn't cure everything, and like your life doesn't begin and end with romance and stuff. So I'm just like, this is so good. But like, even though I recommend all these new shows to people, I always recommend Avatar too, because it's just such a classic. It's such a bop.
It is. Now you mentioned the show that we're going to talk about, and I only know the show because I think I've seen it mentioned either on Instagram or Twitter in passing.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I know only of the name, and I can only imagine what it is. I haven't done any research on it because I want to go in blind with this one.
Mm.
And that's Centaurworld. Now, please tell me if I'm wrong. Is it about centaurs?
It is, but I will admit, it took me a while to realize, like a couple episodes in, to realize that all the characters were just centaurs, but like different centaurs. Like they were half different equine animals. Like one was like a giraffe centaur, and there's a zebra a centaur.
Okay.
And I don't know why it took me so long to like click. I was like, oh, it's really creative though. Like they get into some really really creative different like breeds the character design. Obviously the art style of it isn't my favorite. It's very very toony. Um I'll compare it to the best thing I can compare it to is Adventure Time.
Okay.
Like it had almost narratively, style wise, um, tonal wise, it's very much like Adventure Time.
Now, what's the hook? How did you get into Centaurworld? Why are people watching this show? Because I know, like, I will just say that my wife can't look at centaurs. Like,
Oh,
she has like some kind of like averse reaction to seeing, a person on a upper half person with a lower half horse. Like it's just something that she just cannot do.
that's so unfortunate. Oh, well, I mean, I'll admit I was a previous horse girl, growing up.
Right, right.
But that didn't really affect too much. I think the only thing that kind of came into play was picking out my favorite character, which is the character of Horse. Establishes some of the character names are very basic, like the main character is a horse named Horse. um, and like some of the human characters are just like Rider in general. So it is kind of that kind of show that it feels like it doesn't take itself very seriously. But the reason I watched it is just because somebody recommended it to me. It's a friend that I'm always recommending stuff to.
Hmm.
So I kind of felt like I owed it to them to watch something of their recommendation. And it was just as simple as like, watch Centaurworld. Oh my God. And I was like, fine. It's on Netflix. It's free. It's only 2 seasons. It's I think 10 episodes each, with the last season's episode being an hour and a half long. And boy, I made time for that. Like it was definitely one of those. I was like, I will carve out time in my schedule to watch that. Oh my god. But yeah, I think it's definitely worth the watch for it. How short it is. It's not a big time investment or an emotional investment. And I wish more people would watch it, but I think just because it has that more cartoonish vibe, I honestly thought it was like an adult show, with that was going to have like a lot of crude humor and a lot of cussing, a lot of gore. Like I don't know why I had it in my head that it was going to be like that, but it's actually a TVY7 show, so it's meant for kids. Um, and I mean, it doesn't feel like it because it starts out with the horse in a different world with their rider and their human, and they're like in the middle of a war, and then the horse like falls off a cliff and then gets transported into another world, and the human looks like she's about to die, she's about to get killed. So it starts off already like pretty heavy on the emotions already. The whole narrative is just the horse just trying to get back to their human, in this wacky world that they're not a part of. And it's just kind of fun watching them navigate this super cartoony world when they've come from like a world that's like very hardened with war. The style is very like um, anime and very like hard lines. uh, and then these characters are just like wacky, like balls off the wall wacky, for lack of a better word. It's somebody described it as like a, what is it called? Like a crack? No, like a crack trip or whatever the terms is. I don't know.
Okay.
Acid trip of a show. That's what some people called it. And definitely feels like that at some points, but it is just like the other shows I've been mentioning. It has those very dark moments that really punctuate, I think, even more just because it is these super bright and bubbly characters, like also having to deal with things like war and genocide and depression and suicide. And you're like, this is meant for 7-year-olds. What is happening? um, and it just gets so dark. And then the music, that's the thing that I think most of these shows that I've been talking about has lacked. Because it is a very musical show. Like they'll drop 3 to 4 songs an episode, and they're all wildly different in their genres. But these characters, the vocal ranges on these voice actors are insane. They have a lot of Broadway talent voicing the characters. So like something like that isn't gonna be a stupid little show if they have Broadway talent. Um, So it's incredible. Like I've been listening to that soundtrack and I have to kind of stop myself because it gets me really emotional. Like I get really teary-eyed and just like really deep back into my feels and I'm like, okay, well, you got to pull yourself together. You're about to order a drink at Starbucks. You can't be crying. And I'm just like, I don't know, it gets to me. I think the show, like the main plots of the show or the main themes, it's like self-acceptance, um, and kind of finding yourself in the world, finding your place in the world. Those are big things for me. Um, and it's things that I don't see explored very much. But it's stuff that like hits me very hard when it is explored. So I think that's also why like the main character is my favorite because she goes just through this thing where she's not only like searching for her writer, but also searching for like who she is without her writer, like who she is without in this different world. I don't want to spoil it because it resolves so beautifully. And there's just some things that the creator has mentioned that like kind of symbolizes these little bits of self-acceptance, and it's just so beautiful to watch. And the characters are pretty wacky. I love them all too. But they're not like, my writer dies. Like if anyone of them had, just like gone through something, I would have just been like, eh. Like it wasn't like super deep love. But I definitely grew to appreciate them all more once we got to know their backstories. And then there's just a character that's like at the very, very end, like just kind of thrown in at the very end, who ended up also becoming one of my favorite characters just from like 1 hour of backstory. I was like, this is my character. Like I love you so much. So it's one of those things where yeah, you have to watch it for a little bit. You have to stick through like some of the wackiness and hijinks just to start to get to the heart of the show. But once it starts to pull you in, it also like I think towards the end of season 1, you're pretty much in for the ride. And I recommend it to just everyone, especially people who like musicals. If you don't like musicals, you can't stand them, I would have to call it a hard pass for you because it's so good though. It's not like I hate to say this, but it might be a better soundtrack than the Steven Universe soundtrack. Like I just gotta say,
Oh
his
snap!
music slaps. Oh my god! Like I think there was just one song in episode 2 that like kind of awakened me. Like once I started hearing the song, I was like, oh, this is a good show. Like once I heard that song, I was like, I am here now. Like I am listening. This is amazing. Because everything before that is just like, oh, hunky dory little shenanigans, woohoo, and then that song plays, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. And there's definitely other songs like that. There's some songs that are just kind of hit or miss, but there's some songs that you're just like speak to your soul, and you're like, okay, I am here now. I am present. And there's just some songs that'll just play in my head at random times, and I'm just like, oh my god, we did not deserve this beautiful of a song. It's crazy. It's really crazy how much I fall in love with this soundtrack. So I can't imagine anybody who would hate it. I think some people, like again, they might be turned off from musicals. They might be turned off from just like wacky hijinks, and there's some crude humor and just little bits like that might turn somebody completely off. But if it doesn't turn you off entirely, I definitely recommend it because it is a really, really beautiful show.
Well, I'm definitely going to have to watch it because for someone to compare the music and say that it may potentially be better than Steven Universe, and having watched Steven Universe just recently, like a year or two ago, I definitely have to, now I've got to watch it and be like, I got to see what Kuma's talking about here because
It's a different level. It's crazy. I don't know who they got for this, but whoever it is, they are on my #1 list of people I fear because they're crazy good. And also like the vocal talent, like the voice actors for the horse, Kimiko Glenn. I have no idea who they are, but I love them. They did so good in all of these. Like she was so perfect in every song.
That's awesome. And I love that each of these shows that you're talking about, like, have that, like, feel like it, they all resonate with you for like very specific reasons. And like it's just so like I've been sitting here the past hour ish listening to your stories about these anime, like these animated series, and I'm like, I love that again, that there's these shows that are connecting to people in ways that shows that like I grew up on in like the 80s and 90s probably never like they were for toys. uh
Yeah,
to be real,
very much.
like Ninja Turtles, He-Man, GI Joe, like all those stuff were really for toys. They weren't really like connecting in a way that like these shows now are connecting, and it's just wonderful to listen and see how what people are doing now is affecting not my generation but like your generation, my kids generation, of just having these connections. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I'm so thrilled that these are the kind of shows that um kids are going to be getting to watch and grow up with, because it's just, I think the most important thing I could have used, I think, as a kid was more shows on centering on self-acceptance, because I feel like I got next to nothing with that growing up, and I know it definitely was something I needed a little help in growing up, but it's definitely something I don't need help with now. I am fine. I am great. I love myself, but just hearing those little things in shows that mimic the things I thought when I was younger, I'm just like, oh my God, this is the way to my heart, is just watching these characters grow and like love themselves, because that just mirrors my own journey so much, and especially when they are characters that look like me. And even Centaurworld, obviously the characters are centaurs, so there's no like this character is black or white or whatever, but the creator is Asian. The main voice actors for the horse is Asian. A lot of characters do have like darker skin tones, so it still even feels like it brings a little bit of representation there. And it's just like again, like seeing these characters go through this stuff, but then also have them share like a similar skin color to me. It just really slaps. That can I say? And I hope they resonate with other people too, because I know it's like I was saying before, it's probably a little harder to watch things and relate to things when the characters don't look like you. But it's also nice to kind of sit back and learn about what other cultures are like, what other people's experiences are like, because that's kind of what I had to grow up watching. Like I had to grow up watching American teens with American families do American things, and be like, I can't relate to this because this is not my life. Like, what's visiting grandma's house? My grandma's house is in a different country.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something that I hope that like other kids can appreciate, even if they're not POC, or they're not going through that same kind of mental journey. Like, it's just such a good watch for everyone. I just, like I said, I hope it's not too much of a turnoff for most of these shows being like cartoons or being directed at children, because it definitely doesn't feel like it when you watch it. Like I literally had to look up the rating for Centaurworld. I was like, you can't tell me that this was a kid's show. At the same time, so it was Adventure Time, and I mean, I don't think I watched most of the end of Adventure Time. I grew up with it. So I remember most of the beginning, and I know it had also began as an acid trip show that ended up having one hell of a story. I have Hulu now, so I think I'm gonna dive into those. I think it's 10 seasons. I'm gonna dive into that soon. And it's again, it's very similar to those kind of shows where it's just it's worth the ride. It's worth the journey if you're willing to go through it. But man, I'm just thinking about Adventure Time now. I'm like, what was that show? That was definitely not for kids. Oh my God, that's. I think every time I think about like the earlier episodes of those shows, I'm like, God, we really had a show where like these characters were so foul mouthed and stuff. Like even that was like almost a little too crude, but I think Adventure Time ended up really a good show, and I think these shows that do a little bit better job of not just resulting to crude humor all the time, because they know kids are a little smarter than that. Like they know kids aren't just gonna be here for poop jokes for 45 minutes. Thankfully.
Right. Exactly. Now, Kuma, we're at the part of the show which is one of, I've learned lots. I got more stuff to add to my watch list now, but I have the pleasure of getting to witness like wonderful creations that you've done over the past number of years. It's been my pleasure to follow your account since somebody must have shared something of yours, and I stumbled across the avatar picture like I talked about.
Hmm.
But you're into cosplay, and the
I
question
think
I
these
always
helped. These might have been a dead ringer.
Definitely. For people that aren't, looking at your Instagram while they're listening to this episode. Uh, however, um, how did you get into cosplay? Like, what was those first steps of getting into this thing, this huge thing that it is now?
Yeah. Oh God, it was not a huge thing when I got into it. Let me tell you. So like I said, I started kind of my road into fandom of anime and video games very, very young. So my parents are immigrants. They came into this country not knowing like what to buy for children, like children's media. So they would kind of just go to the store and just buy like DVDs of whatever for us to watch, and most of it ended up being anime. So I grew up watching a lot of Sailor Moon, a lot of Hamtaro, a lot of Naruto. Me and my brother, I think just because we didn't speak English well, we had a lot of trouble communicating with people, so we kind of kept to ourselves a lot, and we were both really big into video games. So we would spend pretty much all of our free time growing up with video games and watching anime. Like, we barely interacted with other people, barely had a lot of friends, which, I mean, sucks now, but I mean, I don't know. Sailor Moon was great. Yeah, I'm glad I got to grow up with that. My social skills might have um, been hurt from doing that, but I think I'm fine. Um, but yeah, so we grew up with a lot of that, and I spent a lot of time on the internet. Um, and I kind of ended up on kind of like stuff like DeviantArt and Tumblr pretty early in life. Um, so I got pretty into like art and stuff. And then I can't remember exactly, but I just remember one artist was talking about a con um, called MomoCon, like back in 2010, 2011. And I started looking it up, and I was just so amazed that this was going on in my own city. Because I think before that, I had heard of cons and cosplay, but I thought they only happened in like huge cities, like in like
Yeah, like
Boston
San
and
like San Diego and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I remember I think at like 10 years old, I was begging my dad to take me to Anime Boston because I was like, this is the only time I can ever find people like me. Like, I don't know why. I was just like, what was a 10-year-old supposed to do at Anime Boston? I don't know. I see little kids at cons now and I'm like, what are you doing here? Um, but that was me. Like, I really wanted to go to a con when I was super, super young, like barely old enough to even like enjoy it. But yeah, I remember I saw that and I went to, I think WinwoodCon 2011 was my very first con. I went with a friend, and we just saw these beautiful cosplays. And I mean, back then they were probably awful, but to us they were beautiful. Um, and we were just so enamored with it. And I was like, I'm never gonna go to a con without a cosplay again. Like, I felt so normal and naked and just so awkward, just in like casual clothes.
Hmm.
I don't think I was wearing like a Jack Skellington shirt, so even then, like people interacted with me because they were like, "Oh yeah, I love your shirt, love your hat, whatever." But I craved that connection with people. But I think like I knew that like if I were in a cosplay it'd be a little easier to like interact with people than if I was just normal. So I was really into The Legend of Zelda at that time, and I still am. A big, big, big thing for me growing up. And there was this character named Tetra who at the time I think she was like the only brown character in the entirety of The Legend of Zelda. Um, except for I think like Sheik. But she was just like a tiny little brown girl, but she was like a super fearsome, ferocious pirate girl, super casual outfits. I was like, I can make that pretty easily. And then I realized I'm like 13. No, I can't make that. So my dad actually got a tailor to make it for me. Tailor in like a little little tailor shop near his workplace in a Hispanic majority part of the town. Uh, and I bought an eBay wig, had the worst time trying to style that the day of the con. Went to the con without the wig and still tried to have a good time, but I still kind of felt miserable because I didn't like my costume as much. And I was like, next time I'm gonna make it myself and I'm gonna make it perfect. And my dad was just so surprised to even see all these cosplayers. Were like, people do this? Like, wow, this is kind of cool. Um, so then he kind of became a little bit of a cosplay partner for me. And I just kind of dedicated myself to at least learning a little bit of sewing and cosplay creation and fabrication throughout the years, like learning how to style wigs. Um, I kind of got to, I think there was at some point where I kind of trailed off because I know my dad wasn't super, super supportive for it, and I think for a good reason, because cosplay is very expensive.
Hmm.
And I was like pulling out different projects like every month. Like, I want to make this, I want to make this, and I want to be like, Nina, stop that. Like you can't be making these huge cosplays. You're 13. So like I look back now, but like at the time I was so frustrated because I was like, I don't have a debit card, Dad. I can't buy this myself, please. You don't understand. But so I think like it was a big, big hobby at first. I really wanted to get into it, but just the barriers of money, and not having the most supportive parents, and then also not having a ride to cons because my dad worked full time. My mom didn't like driving into the city. Had other friends who were kind of nerds, but not
Hmm.
super into it to go to cons. So I had just a lot of barriers keeping me from it. But I kind of still was very much into like this fandom sort of spaces. I got really into art and dedicated myself more to that. But I think on the side, I was still kind of learning how to sew. I think it wasn't until high school where I started picking up cosplay more and more. Um, I think it was like my Moana costume where I started to actually be able to take off into the community because I moved in my own place in Atlanta for school.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was great. And before then, I forgot, in high school, they did like do spirit weeks where we could go in to school in costume and I would make my costumes for those. And that kind of also um, created a passion for costumes for me to show off at school and be like, hello, this is, yeah, I made this. Aren't I cool? But yeah, I mean, thankfully, I think I needed to mature a little bit too before I got more into cons. Like I definitely wasn't able to like fully experience cons until I was a little older. So I think um once I got into Atlanta, I had my Moana costume and it allowed me to do a lot of volunteer events and do get into like the Disney spaces of cosplay, the cosplay community. And I started to meet just a lot of people, like an insane amount of people at every event I would go to because people were super friendly and I was just like so overwhelmed because at the school I was at, um, I was also not super social. I was just not making a ton of friends, but just having this social community with cosplay was like amazing for me. And I started making more and more costumes because I was finally able to um, buy my own stuff, buy fabric, go out, have the independence to go to these events.
Hmm.
Um, and my family kind of still kind of supported it. You know, they don't say much about it now. But unfortunately, my dad passed a couple years ago. So I still keep him like very close, like with my creativity and my cosplay, because he did do a very fundamental, had a fundamental role in like helping me get into it, and teaching me a lot of things. So I still call him like my cosplay partner, my first fan. He took my first photo shoot like out in our backyard in my Tetra cosplay. Um, but like just seeing how much I've like grown with like this community is just incredible because it really started out like that, like just me kind of wanting to be a part of it so bad and then finally being able to like put my feet in the water and then just diving right in is the best way I could explain it. um I definitely had some rough times with some people. I had some more toxic mentalities about cosplay. I think starting out, like I thought I was needing to make like 10 cosplays a month, and I needed to be like Yaya Han quality level for
Hmm.
every single thing I make. And I didn't have a ton of money as a student, or a ton of time. But I think thankfully, over the years, I've been able to kind of find myself and find my footing, and really dedicate myself to cosplaying characters that I really like and not characters that people want me to do. Because obviously I start to fall into that hole of like, I need to cosplay only characters I look like,
Right.
and characters that people want me to do for their groups. So it was really rough to kind of rewrite these mentalities in my brain. And thankfully, I think with the pandemic shutting down some cons for a while, it actually helped me so much to kind of regroup and think like, okay, what am I doing this for? What makes me happy about this craft? Like, what do I need to do to make this healthier on myself? Because it definitely was not very healthy at first. But I think where I am now, I'm very, very happy though. I am mostly, almost entirely just cosplaying things that I like and other people like too, but like it's definitely not super niche stuff, but it's it's like, how do I say, it's stuff that like I think that attracts the right audience for me. Like,
Right.
no, I don't think anybody's going to my page and being like, you need a cosplay from League of Legends, like, or anything. Like I would like to. The characters are great. The design look cool, but I don't play it. Um, so I think I'm very grateful that I've been able to attract an audience that kind of um, is here for whatever content I put out, whatever cosplay I put out. Because I mean, I follow a lot of people like that too. I follow a lot of people where I'm like, I'm not here for just for one specific cosplay. I'm here for just everything you make because I like your brand, your style, your attention to detail, and your flair. Um, and I know my craftsmanship has also gone ways away. Like the evolution of my craftsmanship has been insane from where I've started. Which I think that's probably true for every cosplayer. But it's just been incredible to find that confidence with the stuff I create. Like almost 99% of the things I make now, I'm very, very happy with. I'm super proud to wear on the con floor, and I'm like, this is where I've wanted to be. Like since day one of knowing what cosplay is. It's like I'm not like Yaya Han, but because I know when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to be the next Yaya Han. Like I'm not there, definitely not there, but I am at a place where I am happy. So that
Right.
is, I think, the most important part. Place that I've been able to reach, and I'm definitely excited to see what kind of projects I can get into this year because with both Amphibia and the Owl House kind of still ongoing, I kind of live in fear almost because I have to kind of mentally prepare myself. I know if I see something on screen that I'm like, I'm gonna be throwing everything to the trash and being like this, and focus on it. So um, I've definitely had to just step up and do
Right.
that for myself. But like you could see over there my like bins of just work in progresses because I um, do struggle to finish things sometimes. But I'm working on it. There's still things I gotta work on at this point, and I think this year is gonna be the year where everything starts falling into place even more, and I start to feel even more comfortable with like where I am at personally with cosplay and where I can go moving on.
Absolutely. Now, I want to mention for people that are listening, you can pause the episode and go to Kuma's Instagram page. Links are in the show notes. I just want to point out or mention some of the cosplays that I've fallen in love with. Obviously, your Korra, lovely. Uh,
I
Mar-
appreciate that.
Marnie, love her.
No,
Your Zelda, love your Zelda, love your
thank you.
Aerith. Um, love, oh gosh, and now see Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle, which the kids just watched last weekend,
I'm
so
so
they
glad. I
got to
might
see
actually
that.
pick her up again soon just to do a couple fixes because that was one that my craftsmanship was like, eh. But that's also the beauty of cosplay is like at any time I can improve my stuff and just like, you know, nothing is ever 100% finished. I can always just grab whatever and make
Hmm.
things better because I'm always improving.
And your Owl House because I, again, not familiar with the characters,
Mm.
but there's
You
a
will be soon.
duo. There's a duo cosplay that you did with another cosplayer, non-binate. I'm not
Mm.
sure if I'm pronouncing
You
that
did.
correct or
Don't
not.
worry.
But love the two characters. Love the way, the costumes and the look and everything. And
I'm not
see,
sure which one you're talking about. We've done a couple of duos.
uh, it looks like you're holding a violin, and
Okay,
they're
gotcha.
holding it like a
That's definitely a
ukulele-ish.
spoiler. I won't go into detail about that
Okay,
character.
but
I think
like
you will like them though.
the way that it's shot and the costumes and
Mm.
the look, and it's an immediate like attraction of I've seen the characters and I want to know more. And it's
Yeah.
something like that that's just so entirely powerful with people that cosplay, where it's like I may never have even heard of the thing, but seeing a cosplay makes me interested in at least checking it out and seeing what it is. And that's really
I'm
cool.
so glad to hear that. I know, like, I did mention, I don't know if I mentioned that I got really into art younger, so my background is in art. I have a degree in illustration, so I think that impacts a lot of like the work I do with cosplay, both in like the costumes I make and also like who I choose to do photo shoots with and how we kind of work together to lay out photos and do poses and pull out references and decide on the moods of photos. Like it's something that we do put a lot of love into. It's not for me. Cosplay photography isn't just like me standing like generic pose, hit
Hmm.
shoot, and then done. So I'm really really glad that people are kind of even people who aren't familiar with the content are really liking that stuff because it's so much love and thought poured into these little photo shoots. And even though it's just kind of something to put out into the void, like it's not something super serious. It's just it's something I hope that like kind of does impact people and like um not just bring people into the fandom, but the people into the fandom like brings them more joy and love for these characters. Because I know that particular two characters I do adore a lot, and that there's the two characters that have hopefully brought in more people into that show. Um, just to find out more about them because I particularly did fall in love very fast when I saw that character, uh, and I'm so happy with how that photo shoot turned out. Like it's taking me everything in me to not just post like the whole Google Drive just onto Instagram because they are so beautiful. Um, Hopefully, I'm hoping that those two characters get a lot more time in season 3. That'll kind of like amplify all those because we kind of had to think ahead for the posing. It's like, okay, what do we think is going to happen with these two characters? What can we do to anticipate? Because we kind of did that with and Luce and her love interest Amity. We're like, okay, we got to get some hand holding photos because they're gonna hold hands eventually. We know this, and then they did, and then we're like, oh my god, we predicted it. Which is not even predicted it because it's something that was definitely gonna happen, but we're still like, okay, how would they do this? Like, how would they pose? How would this be framed? And we got it pretty spot on. Like, not exactly like pose for pose, um, but definitely like the energies of the two characters, how they were when they first held hands. Just like, this is just so magical to me. And that's another thing. It's just like being able to involve other people with this art and like collaborate with amazing people who are in these fandoms with me. It's been also just been really amazing. Cosplay for me is definitely not only just like an artful outlet, but also like a very social thing. I think I made that pretty obvious. So it has just been really amazing to be able to collaborate with people in this space and hopefully like bring, like I said, more joy to the people in the fandom, create really cool art, but then also just be able to geek out with certain with these people when things happen in these fandoms. Just be like, oh my gosh, this happened. Oh my gosh, I want to do this for this outfit. What do you think? Just like call out. I really love the back and forth and collaboration with other cosplayers, but it's not something I get to do a lot because I'm more into like cartoons and animation now, Whereas a lot of my friends are mostly into like anime and League and stuff. So I love them. I support them a lot. I love their cosplays, but it's been nice to find um like other people in my space too, just be like, oh, we should go do this. We should do this. Um and make this art and bring this to life. Like it's been just so incredible. And I know younger me would be just so like amazed to be able to see me create this type of content, like this level of content with my cosplay. When I literally, like I said, started out with my dad, like just taking little photos with my crappy digital camera in my backyard. It's crazy where I'm at now, like compared to those days.
It's something just wonderful to think back on and be like, look at where I started and look at what I'm doing now, and it's just it's it's just something that will stay with you for a long time, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be showing my kids this. Like, if I ever have kids, or if not, I'll have to find somebody else's kids. I don't care. Just be like, look at this. This is what I was doing when I was younger, and I'll be like, are you okay? Like, why were you doing this? You're like, I don't understand. I was dreaming of doing this since I was 11. Like, this has been like such a life dream of mine, like doing cosplay and stuff, which is so weird to talk about. But like it really is. It's been just such a life passion for me. It's not something that I was like into just for a little while and then dropped. It was definitely like something I feel like I was meant to partake in, meant to be in this space, meant to create these creations. And I'm just so happy that I have been able to kind of find my footing in this community and find a place where I'm like, being able to collaborate with people, being able to make such high level art, be able to just be so inspired by all these other people because it's not the kind of experience that everyone gets through cosplay. But I'm so glad that has been my experience with it, and I hope
Hmm.
it is that experience for most people. I hope most people have that kind of experience with cosplay because it makes it so rewarding to find just people who are not only nerdy and into the same things that you are, but then also very artistic and very passionate, like passionate enough to spend hours upon hours recreating these characters to bring them in real life. Like it's a kind of dedication you can't find like anywhere. Like it's crazy to think that in my high school, in my college, like there was not a lot of cosplayers like at all. There's maybe like one or two besides me. But it's just these people are just so incredible, and it's just been so fun to witness all that. Like I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And that's just a wonderful thing. And uh, Kuma, I want to say thank you for telling your stories today. Not only about like the animated shows that you love, but also about cosplay. And for people that have been listening to this episode and they'd like to find you or your work or what you do out there in the great wide world of the internet, what are the best places for them to do so?
So I'm primarily active on my Instagram. It is Kumalatte dot cosplay. Kuma like the Japanese word for bird or bear. Latte like the drink, and dot cosplay. I just recently made a Twitter. I've just kind of been off and on that. Not sure how long I'll stick with that. I have a TikTok too, but that's been pretty dead. It's really hard to make so much content for all these different platforms. Like I'm very content on just Instagram. If you want to get like the full experience of me, just check that out. I've also been a lot on there a lot longer, so you can honestly look at like my whole timeline, like scroll down all the way to the bottom, see little baby cosplayer me, and just scroll up, and you'll just see my whole growth as a person through that Instagram. Like I love my little Instagram feed. If Instagram ever decides to delete my profile, I will like commit a crime. I poured so much into that Instagram account. And then I also have an Etsy, which also I poured a lot of love into. Started it in 2020 when the pandemic was getting not great. And I like recently graduated, had a parent pass away, was just not looking good in life, but it has just been my pride and joy since then. It's still going pretty strong. I sell pretty much only face masks at the moment, but I have been debating putting new stuff and delving into different things like fandom merch, acrylic charms, pins, maybe t-shirt accessories, garments. Like, I don't know where I will go with it, but I think it'll probably still stick pretty close to like the fandom spaces and in cosplay or whatever I end up doing with it. But it is also it is Kumalatte Creations, so it's a little different than my username. But if you put Kumalatte in the search results, it should pull up pretty quickly.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes and on the Facebook page and website. So that way, if you're listening and you want to check out Kuma's work on Instagram or go buy some fandom specific face masks that she has up on her Etsy, you can do so just by the click of a mouse button or on your phone, click the hyperlink that's in there. And Kuma, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and talk with me, because it's been truly a pleasure getting to listen to your stories and about these shows that I've heard about, but I've not been able to watch and get interested in watching them. And then, of course, seeing your work and following your work the past year has been such an incredible thing to do, and just get to see what you're putting out there in the world.
So reassuring to hear. I feel like I just rambled all the way through. I'm like, I'm so sorry for rambling this much. Like, and I appreciate that. I don't know. Some people might find enjoyment from hearing just me rambling. I'm sure it's valuable information to somebody. I hope somebody besides you gives these shows a chance, because that is just my life's work right now, is just getting people to watch these shows. That's what my entire existence is for right now. So I appreciate you letting me kind of just info dump about these shows and my experience with growing up with TV shows and what I think about them today. Like, it's so nice to talk about. And like I said, if it even gets one or two more people into these shows, I will just be so thrilled. And if you do, like, whoever's watching this and gets into these shows, slide into my DMs, please. please get into my DMs. Just be like, hey, yo, I saw you in this podcast and I watched Centaurworld. Like, what was that? It'll make my day. Trust me. It'll be like the best thing if somebody does that.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/talesfromthefandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.